Hello, lovebirds. Tanya TKO here. And can you guess what today is? That's right. It's ManDay. For the rest of the world, it's Monday, but on the Tanya TKO show, it's ManDay. And on ManDay, we discuss all topics dating and relating as it relates to men from a woman's point of view. So what I do is I interview scores upon scores of women with or about the topics that you all submit. So if you come to my website, which is listed right here, tanyatko.com, and just go to the Contact Me section, you'll be able to submit your queries or your topics that you'd like for women to answer. And today's topic was spurred by a huge debate that spiraled off of online, where we were talking about who should pay for the first date. And from there, and I need to do a whole video about that because I don't play that mess. I don't. But for today's topic, we're going to be talking about broke men. 7 reasons why I don't dare date them. Because the conversation that we had online actually spiraled into how women only want men for money. They like men they don't care about, the rich men will beat you up and all this craziness that we were talking about. And so I'm making this video, to reach out to some of the younger men who are forming their opinions, who may not have ever heard this from a woman's point of view, and how important it is. Because there's so many things going on behind the scenes with lack of fathers, and and all types of parental role models who are setting all different types of examples. And I don't want to get into all of that. But yeah, so I'm making this video as your big sister. And on ManDay, I always create the distraction for you all to make sure that when you go out there in the street, that you are not overwhelmed and distracted by these little stimuli that are out there. So let's talk about today's video. Let's get right into it. And when we talk about broke, I'm not talking about I'm talking about broken, not making any flat broke, not making enough money to make your ends meet, not being in control of your destiny, etc. So let's go into full detail. And maybe it's not really so much, oh gosh, maybe it's not really so much as being broke, but what led up to the brokenness. Let me just read this for you real quick. Something that I posted on my Facebook page today, and it was from that show, A Different World, from the 80s. And for those of you who know the show, you know the show. For those of you who don't, I can't even describe it, but I'll read this for you. So Dwayne asked Whitley, he says, "What kind of husband do you want, Whitley?" And she's like, "What kind do you think?" He says, "Rich." And Whitley says, "I would like a man who's educated, enterprising, and ambitious." And Dwayne says, "So you wouldn't mind if he was poor?" And Whitley answers, "That type of man is never poor." And that's what this video was about here today. Why don't date broke men? Here we go. Oh, goodness. Get the board out so we can go. And I want to relay these messages with as much love as possible, because my purpose in doing this is to turn some people away from, thinking about the virtuousness of broke life. And we're going to talk about that later in the video. But let's go. Number 7. Remember, these are the 7 reasons. So number 7. I need to get a good grasp on this board. My legs. Oh. Okay. All right, there we go. Number 7. Ambition. Or rather, the lack thereof. There's something missing in terms of ambition, creativity, drive. Here we go. Creativity, drive, discipline. And you're going to hear me talk about discipline a lot in my videos, because we need discipline, both male and female. And you know what? Wait till we get to number Number 5. So number 7 is ambition or the lack thereof. Number 6 is bad luck. Bad luck and too much of it. Too much bad luck. It's like, you know what? Bad luck seems to be contagious. And I wrote this on my Facebook page the other day, and I wanted people. Can you see me better? Oh goodness, my board is falling. Please don't fall today, please. And on my Facebook page, I wrote about how when you hang out with broke people, doesn't it seem to exacerbate your own problems and your own brokenness? Like, you start hanging out with broke people, then all of a sudden you start losing money, things start going wrong in your life and all this other stuff. So listen, some people got too much bad luck, and you know what? It's all like a part of this self-fulfilling prophecy and a law of attraction. So if you are broke as a result of a string of bad luck, this has to do a lot to do with you and what's going on in your spirit and in your whole, just your aura, your vibration, what you're putting out there, and what you're getting back in. I stay away from clumsy, like chronically people who are always having mishaps. Every time you see them in some sort of car accident or a broken leg and ain't got no money, this stuff does not become isolated. Like people who are bad lucky, talk to me about that. You know what I'm talking about? People who are just bad lucky. Everything is always the matter. Something broken. I knew a guy. Listen, oh God, I don't want to. I don't want to bring up this. This is a segue. But I knew a guy who there was something always going wrong in his life. He was always walking around with his shoulders slumped, and things were always the matter. His car was if he was parked on a block where there were Mercedes, everything, his little car would be the only car that gets broken into. And it went to the point where he got kicked out of school. I was in college when I knew him. He went and got kicked out of school. Then he was working. He was working as a landscaper. So he got kicked out of college, so he had to go work as a landscaper, I think with his uncle's business. Then this man, or this young man, went and while he was using a lawnmower, chopped off his toes. Like chopped off. Oh God, he chopped off like the last 3 of his toes. So then at this point now he's crippled because apparently you can't walk without your toes. Oh my goodness. It was always something. So remember how I was saying that he was always slumped over and always something was always the matter? You know, a man who is, see, it's like it's all full circle. Like a man who is confident, a man who is in charge of his destiny, and a man has his own power and or feels powerful. This man moves through the world differently. He sees the world differently. And remember, women, this was not supposed to be part of the video, but we talked about this in the video, Why Good Girls Like Bad Boys, because women will align themselves with a man who is going kind of in a direction that she wants to go in that time of her life. Like if she's interested in fun, if she's interested in settling down, if she's interested in just, you know, she will. So remember, a woman is going to align herself with your life. Oh, that's a whole nother video. I was not planning on talking about that. But when it comes to let me just leave that. Let me leave that there because I don't want to go off on too much of a segue. Then this video will be so long. So okay, and then number 5. Why don't date broke men? I don't date broke men because I can't be a woman while I'm acting like a man. It's like, who's the man in this relationship? You know, and then I can't, and then you know what, and then who's the woman? Oh, well, I should have wrote who's the woman. Let me write that right here. Who's the woman? I want to be the woman, right? And that's what I wanted to just take a quick segue and just talk about. Oh, Lord. I wanted to talk about that real quick. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, I'm getting marker on me. I wasn't meaning to do that. Okay. All right, so listen. You know, as a woman, you know what? As a woman, you know, there are just things they're just natural urges that we both have, both men and women. And as a woman, I don't know why, but I have like this natural just internal urge to be pretty. I don't know why. I do. I like to get pampered, and I like to get, I like to dress up, and I like to look cute, and I don't know, I just like it. I do. I do. And I like to nurture, and I like to, take care, and I like to give my gifts, my natural gifts as a woman, just my femininity. I'd like to give my gifts. You know what? I went out over the weekend, right? And I went to this day party, which we ended up at a night party, and then it got so late I had to go. But on my way out, I decided to, just say goodbye to the people I'd been hanging out with. And one of the guys was sitting down on, at the table in the VIP section when I went to go say goodbye to him. So I went to give him a hug, right? And because he's sitting down, his head is like on my bosom, like his head. And so he turns the side of his face to my bosom, and he just nestles on my bosom right there. And and it was so nice because it was like, like my niece. Oh my goodness. You know what it was like? It's like, something from, yeah, I guess it's something from childhood. You nestle onto a woman's bosom. I hug my niece, and she automatically puts her head right down onto my bosom, and and it's nice, and it's nurturing, and I just, as a woman, I enjoy being able to give forth my femininity. And at that point, I wish that I could hug everyone and let them nestle onto my bosom. I mean, it's a nice place to be. It's so soft. Look at that. Look. I love it. It's just, you know what? It's nice. And it's nice to be able to hold the space as a woman. And, being a woman in a relationship and giving the gifts that women give, just holding the family together, even creating a family, doing those things that turn a house into a home. I enjoy doing those things. And, being, and like, okay, it's just like the things that would make you feel like a man in a relationship, or the things that would not make you feel like a man. For example, if the woman doesn't trust you, or if you don't have any freedom, or if she's always, or like overly mothering you, and you really can't put forth what it is that you bring to the relationship as a man, you will feel like less than a man. If she doesn't trust you, and she's smothering you and checking up on you and treating you like a little baby. I mean, letting you nestle, to strengthen yourself is one thing, but smothering you, and or smothering you, which actually depletes you of your power and your ability, that's a whole other thing. So it's like, and we're going to talk about that in the next one, in number 4, because and number 4 is going to shock a lot of people, but we're going to get to that. But as a woman, it's like, I like to rest in my femininity, and I love to give my gifts as a woman. I love to be able to give forth my. I mean, listen, hey, listen. This dress didn't just jump off didn't walk into my house off the street. I had to buy this dress. I had to do the things necessary that would get me into this dress, and the things that make my skin so beautiful that it looks so wonderful in the dress, among other things. My goodness. You have no idea what women have to go through to look like we do. The shaving, and the waxing, and the cleaning, and the exercising, and the just this, that, and the other, and just the things that, and the shopping, and the massages, and the skin care, and the foot care, and the taking care of your toenails, and your eyelashes, and your Frenchy area, and everything. Goodness, it really does take a lot. So a man who can appreciate all of the efforts that a woman puts into being a woman, and being able to give her gifts, etc. It's like, if a woman is all stressed out, it's like, how will she be able to concentrate on doing all of these things? It's like, how is a woman going to maintain herself keep up, be pretty, do the cooking, the cleaning, and all this other stuff, or maintain the household, or be the nurturing, happy woman, keep the wet vagina and all of that, while she's stressed out, struggling out there in the trenches, fighting all these battles and all these wars, because you've come into her life and have weighed down and added extra burden to her life, extra expenses, or extra hardship, or brought, I mean, listen, we're going to talk about that, but men multiply. When you get with men, you begin to multiply. And then that multiplies your expenses and all of that. But nonetheless, as a woman, it's very comforting to know that if an emergency arises, that the man, that he can handle the situation. If an emergency comes, and if, like, how stressful it is to just know that you can't relax. As a woman, you can't relax because your situation is not under control. At any moment, your lives could be in jeopardy. And we're going to talk about that in number 3. But, during non-emergencies, the little things that men do to make us feel cherished, like appreciating, what it is that we put in. And then also, little tokens, to let you know that you appreciate it, that you appreciate. Listen, being beautiful can be expensive, and it's like, these things, they cost. And it's like, if your family household income dwindles dramatically, it takes away from a lot of the perks and things that you could do, even the going out. Can't go out, can't get the pretty dresses, can't do this stuff. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to tell this quick story. You remember I said I went out over the weekend. I had on this really pretty dress. For those of you who are on my Instagram, come over there and check it out. I had on a really pretty dress. I was pumped up that day too, and I hung out with the promoter and a group of guys afterwards, and they were like, how I really made a smash hit at the party, right? And I was like, yeah, I told them, I was like, yeah, they really liked my dress, and they were like, oh no, he was like, oh no, men are simple. We don't care about the dress. You could have been inside some sweats and you still would have gotten approached the same amount. And this is just, this just shows how unaware of themselves men are. Because even though a man will appreciate his woman's beauty when she's in sweats or whatever around the house, it's a whole different story when you're out. And yeah, no, I would not have gotten the same amount of approaches if I were wearing sweats. They were like, oh, it's the same body. But hey, different things make bodies look different. And then not only that, on top of that, would I have been beaming? Would I have had my, my mixed swagger? Would I have been the same? Would I have been as bright and as just bursting as I was in my beautiful dress and my high heels and my slim waist and my pretty skin and the this, that, and the other? Would I have been the same? And I think that what a lot of people don't understand is, it's very hard to concentrate on the superfluous things, like the things on the perimeter. Like, it's not necessary for a person to shave their legs. It's not necessary for a person to shave their vagina or wear perfume or get their hair done. But it's these little things that just make a woman feel feminine. And I actually had texted him this morning, and I was like, I think one thing that we don't take into account is that had I been dressed in sweats and sneakers, would I have felt as feminine as I did in my dress? Would I have been able to blossom and give forth my gifts of femininity if I had been wearing sneakers? If I had been, and I think that's part of something that I think men need to understand. That the things that you can do to contribute to alleviating a woman of the impending stresses will allow her to be able to focus on some of the things that are not emergency, not, dire, like the little things, the nice things. And it's like all of those things, like it's like a cycle. Like, I read this book where this man, it was like a relationship book, and the man did not, it was called The 5 Languages of Love. And this man did not understand how washing the dishes, taking the kids, or, playing with the kids, or keeping the kids after dinner would get him more sex. He's like, how would that get me more? How is washing the dishes going to get me more sex? And it's like, one thing that men need to understand is that it's a cycle. Washing the dishes will get you more sex because it alleviates some of the the stress or tension or things to do that she has to do, so that while she's not washing the dishes and she's able to rest in her femininity, she's able to come up with creative ways. But if she is just nonstop going from work, coming home, in the trenches, getting the kids ready, doing this, the kids come home after school, this, that, and cooking, cleaning, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. When does she have time to shave? It's like when she's in the trenches fighting out there the same battle that you're fighting, coming in, it's like whereas you may really enjoy going out there into the corporate world and battling your battle like that. As women, we don't. And I'm telling you this as a business owner. I was not planning on going on this segue. But women, we're not wired. Listen, number one, it takes an extreme amount of masculine energy to be able to fight this corporate fight. When you get higher up in the ladder, you know, if you're sitting down as a receptionist or whatnot, you know, I don't know what type of, I don't know whether or not you have to exert a lot of masculine energy doing that. But I know when you get up, further up the rungs, when you have to start rolling with the big boys, when you have to start making the type of money that it requires to survive in this society, it requires exerting a lot of masculine energy. It really does, because I know that God, you don't know what some of the things that I have to do. You want to talk about, I can't imagine what some of my vendors and stuff think I look like when I have to go in on them about price changes, about things showing up that were not as described, things that end up broken, people who try to change prices on you last minute, people who try to give you the okie doke and all types of stuff when it's time to negotiate, and when things don't end up right, when people come here and listen, it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot. And so, you know, women need that time to unwind and to get some of those stresses off, because believe me, it's very hard to have a wet vagina when you are dried out from stress. It really is. So it's like having a man who has some, not only just, listen, if you're, even if your man does not want to wash the dishes after dinner, okay, honey, let's use some of the money to be able to buy a dishwasher then. Something. So it's like, so being with a man who has more money affords a different type of lifestyle where there's an ability to be able to rest and to be able to relax so that you could give forth more of your gifts as a woman. Oh my goodness, I went too far. Oh my gosh, look at the time. We have to go forward. Oh my goodness. Okay, number 4. This is controversial. People don't like when I say this. But a guy said this to me in college, and it stuck. It stuck. I thought about it. Being broke is childish. It is. And he went into an explanation for how being broke is childish and why he would never want to be broke. And I thought about it, and I like the statement. Some people don't like it. So we'll put a little slash over here. Childlike then. Okay? Being broke is childlike instead of childish. And when you think about why it's childish, childlike. When you're broke, you know, you come into the relationship in need. You just like a child with your mouth open, needing food and needing this, that, and other. So you come into the relationship. You come into the relationship in need. You come into the relationship needing to be taken care of. You come into the, be stretching all the way over there. You come into the relationship needing to be taken care of, and you come into the relationship needing to be taken care of, and this puts you in the position of, especially if you're broke and the woman has to care for you, buy your underwear, and give you an allowance and stuff, it's like you're her child. I mean, it's childish or childlike. And some men don't even want a woman who doesn't have a job. So it's like, okay, you know, it's like some men don't even want broke women. And I'm all right with that, because I actually prefer a man who has some sort of criteria for his women. I do. Because if you just allow any and everybody, it's like you don't really need me if you'll just accept anything. You know what I mean? We're going to talk more about that in a different one, but it's childish. You know, you come in with your hand out and your mouth open, and it's like, how will you ever be able to be viewed as the man? You know, because it's like, and not only, okay, when we talk about childish, you know, here we go. Children have a lack of discipline. What else? When we talk about childish or childlike, children have a lack of discipline. Not only that, they have a lack of children. It's been stated, like even up until the late teens, they have a problem with planning, knowing cause and effect, planning, lack of discipline, and not only that, lack of saving. Children, as soon as the money comes in, it goes right back out. They don't know how to save, and that's because they don't know how to plan. So it's like, is it childish? I'd love for you to answer the question: is being broke childish? Think about all of the things that children represent in a relationship, and what you'll represent if you come into the relationship broke. Are you childish or childlike? I think childlike makes it seem a little more happy-go-lucky, like do, 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 I'm childlike, but no, I like childish. But tell me, you give me your thoughts on that. So okay, so number 4 is childish. Number 3, we're getting down the list now. Number 3 is, oh, I love this one. I love this one. This came directly, I'm going to read it to you as it came directly from one of the women that I interviewed. Survival. Okay. And she says, being able, I'm going to read it because this is deep now how she put it. And I was like, wow, that's deep. Listen, she says, being able to earn is an indication of a man's ability to survive. Subsequently, the entire family's ability to survive. So, it's like women, we're the ones who become pregnant. And we're not, you know what, and in oh, you know what, let's talk about currency. Because in different sectors of the population, there are different types of worth and different types of survival. If a person, let's say a person who is in the ghetto, perhaps, or a person who has a very, 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 very entrenched hood mentality, money may not be the biggest survival, I can't think of the word, but the biggest survival indicator or the biggest survival currency. It may be the ability to shoot a gun, or big muscles, or people fearing you, or being a bad boy, or being, just hard on the block, or whatever. That may be the type of currency that is most valued in that neighborhood. Whereas, a person with the tight buns and all stiff and everything with all his money, he may not be the type of guy that a woman in that circumstance is looking for, because it doesn't have much applicable value for her area. She may need somebody who can help protect her physically. But for far and wide, for the most part, we are no longer in the jungle. We're no longer in the jungle. We're in a concrete jungle. We're in a new type of jungle now. So your ability to earn is indicative of the future survival of your family. So it's like, if you have issues being able to earn money on your own, how do you come in and take care of the family? And then how do you take care of the family, and what type of taking care will that entail? Because the woman will become pregnant, and she may not be able to work all 9 and 8 months while she's pregnant. Every pregnancy is different. And so it's like, when a woman has to make a decision about who it is that she's going to be with, if this man gives off indicators that he is not going to be able to take care of it, if he can't take care of himself, he can't take care of a family, he can't take care of her when she's pregnant, then she's going to be stressed out, she's going to be super stressed and not able to really do the things that she would have been able to do before. You know what I mean? It's just, so imagine being stressed out while you're pregnant. Then it jeopardizes the offspring, and then the survival of the offspring, and the quality of life for the offspring. We're going to talk about that in number 1. Number 1 is my favorite, but that's number 3. So listen, number 2, we're getting down to it now. Number 2. And number 2 is going to be competition. I wanted this to be number 1 because I really love this one, because I'm going to do a little diagram for you all so that you can see what it is that I'm talking about. Oh, God. And I wish that there was a way that I could explain this better. Okay, let me move this so my camera can brighten back up. Oh, now my board is falling. Hold on for a second. So competition is the second one, and I really wanted this to be number 1. But let's talk about this real quick. Okay. you know, when we got into the argument online, you know, there were people who were like, oh, yeah, you know, how she should get beat up by, you know, this rich man and he's going to be abusive and all this other stuff. Oh, let's talk. Ugh, I hate those type of arguments. Let's talk. You